we're not done because we have more quick hits.
Yes.
Fabrizio Romano reports that Barcelona have agreed personal terms with Nico Williams. Jules, it's a 6-year deal. Now all they have to do is pay the release clause and, of course, get La Liga and Mr. Tebas to approve it.
Yeah, release clause, which is 60 million euros. So that's a lot of money. I know Nico is a very good player, young. He would fit perfectly what Hansi Flick wants to do. We can then look into tactically where does that leave Rafinha and how do you play Rafinha and Nico and Lewandowski and Lamine all together and Pedri, and for sure that also means a lot of resources, a lot of options if you add a Ferran Torres if he stays, or Dani Olmo if he stays, and Gavi, and etc. But if that's the guy that you want, if Nico is the guy that you want, sure, go for it, as long as you have obviously financially the power to do so, which again, as we know with Barcelona, it might just prove a little bit tricky. And remember, a year ago, they also wanted him. He was not sure because he was not sure if he would get registered, for example, and that go through. So things have changed in a year. Are Barca better financially than they were a year ago? I'm not too sure, to be fair.
I think they are marginally better. I don't like this deal at all. I would focus on who's your long-term replacement for Robert Lewandowski. I'm not sure they need Nico right now if they think that that's a great price at which to get him. Didn't have the best of seasons in my view. And, if he's going to cost you an arm and a leg in terms of salary, what is the implication here? Because like you said, there's also, you can move Rafinha inside, but then you've got Dani Olmo, you've got Fermin Lopez, you've got Gavi, just a lot of bodies there. And I wouldn't want to shift Fermin Lopez or Gavi to make room for Nico Williams.
Marcus Rashford is reportedly open to joining Newcastle. Gab, question is, are they open to welcome him?
This reminds me, I really do not want to make fun of the people looking after Marcus Rashford and doing his PR, but maybe I will. It's the same people who harassed Gecko into meeting him, speaking of Barcelona. It's very simple. You are not on wages that are suitable for really any club in the world right now based on your performance level. That's not where you are. And on top of that, you got injured at the end of the season. So, yeah, sure. Newcastle, if you're Newcastle, you might say, yeah, okay, we like Rashford if he's going to cost this much in terms of wages, leaving aside the whole transfer fee that United might want. But, Jules, where are you going to put him? Is he better than what they already have in that role? And this whole sniffy attitude about how he needs a Champions League club. Dude, get a grip about where you are right now. Am I wrong here, Jules?
No, I think they're all fair points. I'm not sure if you're from a Newcastle point of view with Barnes and Gordon already there, and all three of them preferring to play on that left-hand side, if that's really where your investment should go, to be fair. I know he had, I was going to say 6 good months at Villa. It was not even 6. He had good times at Villa, better than what we saw from him at United in the last 18 months before he switched to Villa in January. But I'm not sure that's enough for you to change everything that you've been in the last few years.
ESPN reporting that Thomas Partey, he's a free agent. He was in talks with Arsenal. It seems those talks have fallen apart, Jules. Is this a big loss?
Yeah, I think he was very good last season, especially in the second half of the season in that holding midfielder role. He's a good player. There's no doubt when he's not injured, and when he had that fit, he was fit for a consistent amount of time. Then you could see how beneficial he was for the team. But if you can't, it's not at all cost that you keep somebody like Thomas Partey, who's I think turning 31 this year. So they could not find an agreement financially. I don't know if he was not too keen on lowering his wages, for example, or how many years he wants in his contract. Zubimendi is coming. You already have also other options in midfield. And I think even if Arsenal don't sign another number 6, for example, they probably they might think that it's okay to go in like the scene like that. Or they thought if we can't keep Partey, then we've got a plan B, and let's see who that is.
At that age, on those wages, because he was one of the club's highest earners, and with Zubimendi coming in, it really makes no sense. It's a very crowded midfield there, and of course, Lewis Skelly, even though we've seen him at left back. He's another guy who can fit into your midfield pictures where he played most of his career. And you have options. There's Declan Rice. There's, if they sign the striker, there's Havertz a little further forward. So yeah, I would not be concerned here.
Another player that could be on the move is Granit Xhaka at Bayer Leverkusen and maybe on his way to Milan.
Yeah, I was waiting you to say it. Like, he sees Eric Ten Hag's bald head rock up and he says, all right, GTFO, I want to go somewhere else. It's an odd one. In some ways, it reminds me a bit of when he left Arsenal, where he was sort of just kind of determined to move on. Allegri evidently trying to turn back the clock. Granit Xhaka, plus possibly Luka Modric in midfield. Like, they've obviously decided to build a team that's supposed to win now, maybe abandoning in some ways their long-term project. I think Xhaka was phenomenal 2 years ago. Last year, slightly more up and down, but he's definitely a leader, definitely has personality, and that's what Max Allegri wants. After getting knocked back on Brian Mbeumo, Manchester United have held talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over Hugo Ekitike. Jules, impressed, right guy?
So I'm really impressed by Hugo's season with Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. He was really outstanding. You could see the maturity that he plays with now, and things were a little bit difficult for him in Paris, but he's back to what we've seen before at Reims, the huge potential that he has because he's tall and he's so good technically. There's so many things that he can do all around. He's going to get better and better. So I understand. The question again is that Mbeumo and Ekitike are two complete different players. I don't understand how you go from one, missing out on one potentially, and go for the other one as a plan B when they should not even be on the same plans, really. So we'll see. It's another striker linked with United. I don't know which one they will pick, which one they will go to. Ekitike will cost you a lot of money again, and you probably would need to let one of Zirkzee or Haaland or maybe even both go. You've signed Cunha already for a lot of money, so I'm just waiting to see if United really are ready to spend 80 million euros or something like that on Ekitike.
You could get Victor Osimhen for less than that. He costs you a bit more in wages. Guys, let's just be logical here, not complicate all this nonsense. And we haven't even mentioned Gyökeres, who I don't know. I don't know what to say. But yeah, Ekitike, a nice player. Is United the right place for a young, maybe a little bit raw, developing striker? See what Rasmus Højlund thinks. Manchester United have reportedly fixed their price for Jadon Sancho, and it's scaring folks away, Jules. 25 million euros? That's a lot, given the circumstances, no?
Yeah, and Chelsea were not ready to pay that after the loan that he had, or pretty much the same, 25 million pounds, something like that. And clearly, it doesn't seem that there's much people queuing at the door to get Jadon Sancho for that price. We know that Napoli, for example, want a player that can play on that left side and been linked with the likes of Garnacho, for example, with Sancho being an interest of them and Conte. Maybe at that price they think like, well, actually we'd rather invest in a younger player that will be slightly more expensive in Garnacho, but where we think have more certainties. And I can completely understand that, and the same for the club. So we've been saying for weeks now, good luck to United, really good luck to finding a club for Jadon Sancho, because it's not going to be easy.